Welcome to Memoirs of a Twisted Mind. I'm your host, Eddie Stanley. Today's episode, I want to get into the MultiVerse or TheSimsVerse. No, this is not a Spider-Man review. No, this have nothing to do with that. It's about parallel universes and multiverses. I've always been fascinated with this, and people who know me know that I do believe in multiverses. The reason for that is because if you believe in a higher power or you don't or whatever, even like even if there is a higher power, when they get bored looking at the same earth, I mean, really think about that. Because we actually play God with the Sims. And if you want to discuss this, please leave a comment so we can discuss this if you believe that it is or isn't. Either way, it's still a fascinating topic because it's two movies that stick out with me that makes me think that art imitates life. And what if it is something like this? Where the two movies is, one is the Minority Report, where they can predict the crime that you are about to commit and stop you and arrest you and do everything before you even commit it. Hook, line, and sinker, straight G, establishment stuff. The other one that really sticks out is called The One. And they had an actor by the name of Jet Li, where an intergalactical, I know I said the word wrong, intergalactical runaway was going through different Earths, unaliving the people that was his doppelganger. Where the one person on the one Earth kept getting the same strength, faster, stronger, not really getting sick, like somewhat indestructible powers, because all the strength started going into them where it could only be one where they faced off against each other. That always fascinated me because I started thinking to myself, what if we are doppelgangers from a different Earth, just like I'm doing this now, where podcast, YouTube, and there's somebody doing the exact same thing that I'm doing because we all had the same thought process. That's like when we have dreams where some feels real some plays, and then you remember it to the detail because it was scary or fun or action filled. But what if that's just an alternate life that we're thinking? That we're seeing our doppelganger in a different Earth. And yeah, I had the whole little discussion where somebody busts out and said, well, if it was that, don't you think somebody would have found it? That's the whole thing. You can't find something that's not trying to be found. And then two, what if the Bermuda Triangle is the gateway to all of it? And do you know anybody that went through the Bermuda Triangle and came back to tell what was on the other side? I didn't think so. So that's why, let's play a little scenario here. Alright? What if in a different world we have where everything is flipped just a little bit, flipped just a little bit, where I can do from us to this? What if the Native Americans came from America, end up going over to Europe, and let's say Europe was trading with the Chinese and all that stuff, like how the Native Americans was before the Europeans came over. But let's flip that and have them go over there. Now you have the Native Americans over there, they end up finding land, moving people back, doing the same thing, and then the dynamic of race is completely different, where they end up coming over there, driving them away. But what if the slaves end up being the Asian community, where now over in Europe you have Asians that are slaves, you have the Native Americans who are the owners, you have the Caucasians all spread it out disproportionate. Of course, you still have Russia, Mexico, and all that stuff in Africa, but like things are changed. And like, what if I'm doing the podcast here, but I'm doing it in a different language because Africa never got exploited for the slave trade and all that stuff? It makes you think, it makes you actually sit back. Like, there was no Gulf War where America fought against Mexico for the property of Texas. There's no Civil War, but if it was a Civil War, it would probably be the North versus the South in Europe. America is just America, or whatever Native Americans called it before everything went down. You see what I'm saying? Like, would they still be dealing with the same struggle, same headaches, same everything? Whereas cancel culture is this, is equality, or would it be slightly different? That's always the stuff that boggles my mind, for the simple fact that seems like, I ain't gonna say it seems live and it seems great, but I look and go, okay, who was the great leader that was in Asia that ended up probably getting assassinated? That was like a person that actually spoke like how Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all these great leaders. What president would be the person, like who would have been the president that ended up everything going down? Would it have been like a Native American person that would have been a president trying to actually like stop Asian people from being oppressed? Them are real good questions where, like I said, I would love to hear comments. I can talk about this for like a while, but I know I'm trying not to do a lot, because like, let's flip another one. Say of the greatest power that was like not really on the level of going, oh, I don't think we should mess with them because of things that they can do. What if America in a different parallel universe was North Korea? And everybody just don't mess with America because they like, ooh, and Canada is looking going, well, technically we're a part of North Korea, so therefore, you know, we're fine too. And then like, no, since America is like somewhat like North Korea, what if like they're like America's dictator would be like somebody like, what if it's Leroy Jenkins? You know what I'm saying? Like, what if he's the dictator of the United States of America in that time, like in that world where, can you just imagine the fact that it's a Leroy Jenkins that's like the dictator and all that stuff, or and like the equivalent of Putin be like Johnny Depp. You know what I'm saying? Like, just some real simple, basic, and everybody looking going, how does that work? Oh, no, well, fine. Wait. If Leroy Jenkins is America, we got to do a Canadian. And, like, let's just say the Canadian is, like, Justin Bieber or something. Like, he's Putin. So, my thing is, MultiVerse is so unique. Science is so awesome. I wish I could get more into it. I can get more into it if I apply, but I just love having the discussion so we can sit back, laugh, and make it pretty much fun. Because if you have any ideas of saying, oh, well, what if this state, instead of this state being California, it was called super hot? I don't know. But that's all I can say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm not trying to make a video that's like all over, because let's face it, mine's already twisted. I already think that we're living a Sims world anyway. It's just, it'd be more fun just to deal with that. This has been Memoirs of a Twisted Mind. Yeah, I almost forgot the name. I have been your host, Eddie Stanley. And if you have any alternating universes that you want to discuss, I have no problem replying, because this is really fun. So what are you still doing here?